I started playing Magic in 2018. And my introductory experience was like most Magic newbies. I was borrowing decks from friends, I was buying precons, I was finding commanders I like and building the lists that I was seeing on the internet. And this was more than enough to make me just fall in love with building Magic decks. And then one rainy Friday night Magic, my buddy Max sat down with a deck that blew apart my idea of what deck building can be. I still think about that deck to this day. Let me tell you about the F deck. Max's deck answers the question, can you build a deck containing only cards that start with the same letter? And as the name suggests, every card in this deck starts with the letter F. The next question to ask is, why F? And the answer is surprisingly simple. The main limitations with this deck building constraint is basic lands. And you can't really build a decent command deck without them, so that immediately reduces your options from the entirety of the alphabet to just 5 letters. Max explored his options for S, I, M, and P. And even though F didn't have the most cards in its colour, F seemed to have the most playable cards. Right now, there are 5 legendary green cards that start with the letter F, but back when Max conceptualised the deck, there was only 1 Freyalise. And to be fair, it's a pretty lucky outcome. A commander that doesn't come with a particular theme to restrict your deck building, and has 3 abilities that are fundamental elements of Commander: mana, removal, card draw. That's honestly hitting the jackpot for this level of deck building restriction. Okay, so how are we looking for mana base? We've got 36 lands, and 11 of those aren't basic forests, which genuinely surprised me. You've got some better known lands like Forbidden Orchard, Field of Ruin, some genuine bangers in Forge of Heroes and Fomori Vault, and even some token support with Fountain Port and Foundry of the Consoles. And then we've got Forsaken City, which I think perfectly encapsulates the vibe of a deck with such a ridiculous deck building constraint, because what the fuck? Frostwalk Bastion might seem like a funny choice because it requires a snow mana to become a creature, but it's actually achievable in this deck because of Faceless Haven. However, Faceless Haven itself can't become a creature because it requires 3 snow mana. But hey, who cares? Now we're in green, so you'd expect mana and ramp to be semi-decent even with the F restriction, but our options are genuinely good, albeit a little left field. Obviously. Just for mana dorks and rocks, you've got Finehorn Elves, Finehorn Elders, Fanatic of Ronus, Fountains of Ichor, and Fractured Power Stone. Because who knows when you might need to roll a planar die. And then cards that search for lands, you've got Frontier Guide, Free Strider Lookout, Font of Fertility, Flourishing Bloomkin, Floriferous Vine Wall, Farhaven Elf, and Far Wanderings. I'm gonna pass out. As we know, Freyalise makes tokens, and in true mono-green fashion, the F deck focused on making tokens as well as +1/+1 counters. And the fact that the deck makes 16 different types of token suggests that it's achieving its focus pretty well. You've got Fated Intervention, Feed the Pack, and Full Flowering, all notably quite high mana value. However, we've also got the absolute goated Fishing Pole. I mean, come on, an equipment that lets you tap to cast out bait and then untap to catch a 1/1 fish. That's perfect card design, baby. And as for counters, you've got the usual array of green +1/+1 nonsense. Forgotten Ancients even here.
She doesn't even go here!
As is probably expected, card draw and tutoring is less than ideal in the F deck. I mean, to be honest, it sucks. But hey, you can't win them all. You know it's rough when your best option is Farsight Mask. I've never even seen this card before. Sick art though, so... And the less said about the tutoring, the better. Moving on, where this deck really shines is the removal and protection. And when I say removal and protection, I mean cards that vaguely do something to help you. And when I say shines, I mean there are cards here that start with F. You've got Fog, you've got Fog Patch. What the fuck is that? You've got Artifact and Enchantment removal, you've got Creature Fighting, you've got Artifact and Enchantment removal, you've got Death Touch, you've got Artifact and Enchantment removal. Okay, the targeting is fairly niche, but isn't that the beauty of a deck like this? Who expects the niche deck to turn the tide of a tight game? It might be less likely to have an impact, but when it does, the table will lose their mind. A memorable game is worth more than a dominating game. That being said, the F deck does actually have ways to close out the game. With all of the random creatures and token generating, the aim is to go wide and just start swinging, and a couple of cards can help us get over the line. Fangren Pathcutter and Full Steam Ahead both look to give your creatures trample to hopefully overwhelm your opponent. But the real game with this deck is the power of limited expectations. No one views this deck as a threat, and that's its secret power. Whilst everyone's duking it out and developing grudges, the F deck is flying under the radar, avoiding tension, and is swooping in at the last minute to pick up the pieces and claim the odd victory here and there. A win twice as sweet because it's against the odds. Like I said at the start, I've not stopped thinking about this deck for nearly 8 years now, I just love what it represents. Building with this level of constraint forces you to really be creative, and to me that's just so exciting. Additionally, a big benefit to the sheer lack of staple cards in this deck means the price is under €100, which is roughly $115. If you enjoy the deck as much as I do, you can find the full list in Max's Archdeck link in the video description. Go check it out, give him some love, and thank you for watching the video. Hopefully it inspired you to build something a bit different too.